Welcome, Internet, to the PixelPlay Podcast, someone's favorite gaming podcast out there in the world, where we get together to talk all things video games. This week, we're talking about character creation, pre-made characters, and how we feel about them, and how we build our own characters. If you like that and you want more, we post podcasts every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you get your podcasts. And we also do a little bonus side content here on YouTube on Fridays. This week, we're talking about Bungie and what they can do to recover. I'm joined this week by my co-hosts Adam at CS Radical and Chris at Jin and Chris. Guys, how are we doing this week? What's been new? What have you guys been up to? What have you guys been playing?
Adam, what have you been playing? Because I actually have no idea. And this is like, usually I have a little bit of an idea.
The long weekend was real fucking busy. I barely played shit.
Oh. What a twist.
I am back at a bit into Trails again. I've gotten to starting chapter 5, which is very much like the final third of the game is now underway. I'm finally settled with the point of, yeah, this is probably either my least favorite or probably just overall the worst one for me personally. It's not, again, like I've said many times, it's not bad, but like it isn't hitting the same notes that I'm used to seeing, and I'll probably end up doing some longer version of that at some point. But that is neither here nor there, because I'm still waiting for like the big turn, because it's the first in an arc. There's always a big turn at the end, so I'm sure it's like, okay, when we get to the finale, we'll see where that goes, and the story is what's really going to decide how I actually feel about this game. Because again, I can deal with the same gameplay, I can deal with side quests being not so great, as long as the main story is what carries it. And Chris, if just from playing, I think you've only played the first Sky so far. I don't know if you got any further in the second one or not.
I have installed it.
So that's progress. But how it does a good job world building at the start, and then once you get to the very end, you go, oh, okay, I see where we're going now. So I'm waiting for that. Otherwise, messing with Balatro here and there again. I've dabbled in a few other things, but like realistically, like the majority of my time's gone to Trails, hoping by the time, the next 2 weeks, I would say. My hope is to have this done in 2 weeks, because I'm tired of saying that this is what I'm playing and then just repeating the same 3 things over and over again. But
that's what I do.
Yeah, well,
that's what I do.
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to be the guy that doesn't do that. So that needs to be fixed at some point. But otherwise, Balatro, I've officially just kind of put like, okay, I think I can rate this sucker now. It's a 6. It's probably going to be fighting with Helldivers by the time we get to the end here. We'll see how it goes, though. There's plenty of time. We got, another 4-ish, 5 months now?
Yeah, 4 months.
So we'll see.
5, yeah.
We say 5. Let's be real. It's 4. Nothing comes out in December.
Is there something coming out this December? I can't remember.
Avatar came out last December.
As I said, nothing comes out in December.
I think it was December.
Yeah, it was like early December. My point still stands. But yeah.
It's interesting that I want to just touch on it, because you talked about Balatro being a 6 out of 6 for you.
I know.
That's interesting. No, I don't hate it. I finally understand.
I don't know. From the Discord, and by the way, all of you should join the Discord. You seem to actually hate it.
Well, this is the thing. I understand how heroin works now, because I don't like it. It's not good for me. It's taking up my life, and I somehow can't stop. This is the problem. So I actually did beat my first deck. I beat the... What's the one that gives... I think it's the blue deck, the one that gives you an extra hand?
Yeah.
So I beat the blue deck. And now I'm doing a pretty good run on the red deck, so we'll see how this goes. I like the game. I like what it does, but for me, it is too much random, in the random number generator. There is an aspect that there are times where you just can't win. From the get-go,
by design, you generally will know if it's worth pursuing after the first blind is, or not the first blind, the first complete round is over. Once you've done one boss, you usually know by then if you're having something to work with. Because if you have 3 runs and the Joker really hasn't, the Joker runs haven't really given you anything to work with, you're like, yeah, this probably isn't going to go very far.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was a way that you can kind of customize which Jokers you want. If they said hey, you can choose up to 20 Jokers to show up or something like that. I just like the way that
even a sort of casual thing where you can kind of
not I don't want to say it where it's hey, I want these Jokers, but just be hey, you can if it's one of those things where you have a way to kind of because you guys a lot of Jokers that just suck, and it's I don't have a use for this. Any Joker where it's turn all your cards into hearts. I'm like, I know how the boss runs go. I don't want to like go single suit, so forget that. Like, I just wish there was a way that I can kind of build my deck a little bit. Like, not saying cater that I know what's coming up, but at least kind of customize it a little bit. Like, almost like in like Magic the Gathering, where you can like kind of build a deck that you kind of know what's in there. You don't know when it's coming or how it comes up, but still have like some sort of play difference. Like, it's all just random on the jokers and what that turns out to be, and it could be absolute garbage because like that's just my issue with it there. Like, it's like playing a game of Magic the Gathering, but instead of coming with a deck, you just get booster packs, and you just whatever you open is what you play at that moment. It's a cool idea, but like it doesn't allow for any sort of strategy to occur. You're just playing at the whims of what luck draws and making the best of it. And I feel like that's my biggest drawback with Balatro. Not a bad game. Like, it's a really cool idea, just too much random for you to like build a strategy or like to make any run feel viable. And I find usually with roguelites, the good ones are like, hey, I could win any run. This one feels like, no, this one is you from the beginning. Like, there is a certain percentage of luck that no matter what you do, you cannot win that hand.
Yeah, there are definitely going to be some seeds you get where there's just nothing you can do. There's just, it's going to be a case, and that's the thing when you have literally a random number generator that's running everything. The one thing that I honestly, if I had the ability to change something with Balatro, I wish what they would do is at the beginning of the game, before you even start your first blind, that it does some sort of a roll that gives you a random joker, and you can, as a coder, you could probably make like a lower tier list so that way you don't get like an amazing one right off the bat. But the problem I have is round one where there's nothing going on. It is frustrating how difficult it is to make any money off of that, to even have a start when the store comes up. Because
or even you get like
two pair. You think two pair should be decent. Two pair isn't enough to get you. You'd have to play all three hands to get. If you did two pairs, you have to at some point get a straight flush or better. There's no way around it. You cannot play just pairs at the beginning. So it's like the first round, I think like it probably needs to be either give you some way of having a bit of a multiplier boost, or maybe make the first two, like the first round, like down the blinds like a little bit, because I find that I quit way too many after the first round because I go, I literally am getting frustrated by I can't pull anything. Like, I might be able to barely make it out of here, but I'm only going to get like the bare minimum of money out of it. And then the store's going to come up and anything I want is too expensive. So I'm just sitting on this. And now I got to do the next blind with nothing. No thanks.
Yeah.
I would rather just restart again and try to get at least something to run the next round with.
Or
so
even like
that would be my complaint. The first round is just where I can't get anything done immediately and I just quit immediately. So if I had stats showing like which round I've quit in, there's all the other rounds that are maybe like anywhere between 1 and 3 times, and then round 1, which is probably like fucking 100.
Yeah, I think like I wish there were, like, I agree with you that there needs to be something like either rerolls are free in that first round, like that first ante, like you can reroll once each round because like you get
like
some, and it's
like
like
a beginner's luck sort of like thing where like it's a discount at the first store or something, like just something to give you something to work with, or even like how like again, it's way out there, but MLB The Show, they always have like some sort of starter pack for people that you open up to, at least so you're not playing with the shittiest cards right off the bat.
Yeah,
there could just be something like, hey, here's a free, it doesn't even have to be a Joker pack. It could just be one of the Arcana packs, or one of the, like, it could just be a random pack, whether it's Buffoon pack, Arcana pack. What's the planet pack called, Chris? I can't remember.
Celestial.
Thank you. Just one of those three. And it's not a mega, just like the basic one, whether it's like the 2 Jokers, the 3 Arcana, or the 3 planets. Just one of those, just so you're guaranteed something that first shop that you can
even like a starter pack, like a mega starter pack where it's like, hey, choose 2 of these 5 cards. And
yeah, even that, honestly.
Jokers and whatever. Yeah,
preferably I'd rather it be one of the other 3, because at least it's something that can add a multiplier of some degree to it.
No, but if it was just like you get like 5 random cards and they're a combination of Celestials.
Oh, you mean like a full-on thing?
Like it's not like a, you don't.
I thought you meant like the starter packs being like just picking cards, like actual like face.
No,
cards
a booster is just like, hey, here's 5 random cards that are a combination of Celestial, Arcana, or Jokers, randomly selected. You get to choose 2, and that kind of starts your run.
I think 2 would be too much. It would probably be 1 at most if they were going to do that.
Whatever.
But that's just me kind of like trying to balance it, because you could get a real ridiculous like good start with that, and then all of a sudden the shops become a little bit meaningless. It's
Yeah.
more just me going, I hate that I'm quitting too many runs early because I'm not seeing
Yeah.
anything in the shop worthwhile. So you just kind of end up going, yeah, I don't want to make 450 chips with 2 pairs and trying to barely get a straight together. So
Yeah. So I'm like I'm still playing the game. Like I said, I'm now I think almost done my second run or second like deck. It's good. I don't see it hasn't clicked for me yet with that 6 out of 6.
that game demands a mobile port, and I know they're going to do one at some point from what I understand. As soon as
Honestly?
that comes out, like that might be the first time in probably 3-ish years that I'll download a mobile game onto my browser.
Adam,
Or my
here's what you
phone.
do. Adam, here's what you do. I've been playing this almost exclusively on my phone. So I downloaded the PlayStation Remote Play app.
Well, I know there's stuff like that, but like I work from home, so there's no reason for me to ever do it.
No,
it's
but
like the
I've been
odd time
playing
where
it,
if
like-
I want to do something like that.
I've been playing it we went out to shopping somewhere, or like I was at like a friend's house, and I just played it on my phone on Remote Play, and it was great. Like the internet speed doesn't matter because it's just turn based. So yeah,
True.
if you've got Balatro and you've got a phone, like
But I mean,
build Remote
I'm
Play.
sure with a native app, it would probably be a lot more
Oh yeah,
user friendly for that. So I think that's also what I'm looking into is like how it actually adapts to a screen properly and shit.
it adapts perfectly. I've been playing it almost exclusively on my phone. It's my favorite mobile game right now.
I know Chris would download it immediately if it was on phones.
Well, actually, fun fact, I went to a cottage this weekend, so I played 12 hours of Balatro.
Did you
the same
really?
thing. I did.
On Remote Play or on your Steam Deck?
Steam Deck. Just, yeah, I've
you have
exclusively
the
played.
cheat code. You're not playing it on a mobile device. That doesn't count.
No, but it is on Switch. Like you can buy the game on Switch and play there, but obviously
But the trophies.
PC. Yeah, the trophies, the achievements.
Well,
which
again, it's not this big, man.
no, it's full Steam Deck size. I actually played 12 hours of it, and my goal was to beat all the difficulty levels, which there are 8 of. And I got to 6 out of 8 where I beat the runs, and it was tough. The last one took me 5 hours to win one finally of consistent playing.
Wow.
Because each difficulty, you guys think it's hard now?
No,
Holy
I don't think
each
I don't think it's hard at all. It's just luck.
Oh,
I can't
it's
wait to
tough.
play on harder difficulties and go, oh fuck this.
Yeah, because the difficulties, it's not like, oh, it's different RNG on the Jokers. No, my friends.
No, it's the things they handicap you on.
They handicap you. So one of them at first, it's like one less discard for the entire thing. So you're like, okay, I just got to be a little bit better than I was before. I get one less discard.
Or I
Then
just
all of a
play
sudden
my pairs deck and I don't got to worry about discards anyway.
Yeah, well, you think that now. Then all of a sudden it goes Jokers. However, some Jokers in the shop will be permanent, meaning if you purchase them, you can never sell them.
Ooh.
Then another tier on top of that is some Jokers are actually temporary, where after 5 rounds, they expire and are debuffed permanently, and you have no choice but to sell them.
Rude.
Nope.
Oh,
Don't-
and every tier keeps the previous tier's difficulty. So if you get to where I was, not only do you have one less hand, not only do you have one less discard, not only do you have permanent Jokers that you can't sell, but you also have the Jokers that might also be temporary. Like you have all of those.
I have enough
all
problem keeping
at
that fucking
once.
banana in my deck.
Yeah. I finally got the 1 in 1,000 banana. I'd never actually seen that before, so I quickly bought it because it was revenge for you. Yeah, and I think that one of the tiers was also the antes are all increased across the entire thing. So the normal 100,000 you need, it's like permanently, I think 300,000, like everything's tripled. And it doesn't, you're still 300 for the first round. I think, is it 300 for the first round?
It'd be a real dick move if it wasn't.
No, but
I
instead
got
of
hit
like,
with I got hit with the final boss where it was like the 100 and then it's got tripled. So it was like win it on 300,000. I'm like, fuck off, Balatro.
yeah. Normally it's like a straight line. No, it became an exponential curve. Like it was pretty awesome. Yeah, because there's a deck that I open because I do flushes and I don't know what it is or what the requirements are, but it's a deck that only has 2 suits. So instead of 4 different suits, the checkered deck, you get 2 spade decks or 2 sets of spades and 2 sets of hearts. And those are the only 2. So flushes are easy because perfect. You only have the 2 to deal with. If you can't do hearts, you can do spades. Like you can always do one or the other. So that I was like, I'm gonna do my flushes decks, and I'm going for this, and I'm gonna win. First difficulty, second difficulty, third and fourth. I actually it wasn't too bad. Little bit of a learning curve and stuff like that, but then it was the fifth was tough. And then the sixth was the one that I spent like 5 to 6 hours in the sun with a beer. And I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm ignoring my family and friends, and I am doing this.
They're
and
all
then
outside, like playing, swimming, doing like.
Oh no, they were sitting with me. Like they were just sitting with me. It was super hot, so we were just kind of sitting in the shade. Like it was all we could really do. But yeah, everybody was just like, "Did you win yet? Are you still playing the same game?" But yeah, so I actually did it. I beat 6 out of 8, and then holy crap, I just didn't have it in me to try for 7 and then level 8. Like it just got so ridiculous. Yet,
I don't
have
that in it. I'm not. Nope.
No, I only went back. I was already done with the game. I was like, I've beaten like the main like 5 or 6 decks that you unlock. I beat them all. And I was like, I think I'm good. I don't need the extra difficulties. And then all of a sudden, you guys have been talking about it, especially Adam recently. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to the cottage. Like, what do I want to play? And I'm like, oh, I really want to play some Balatro again. I'm like, yeah, but I've already done it. Like, I'm just going to do it again. I'm like, there are other difficulties, and there are achievements related to some of those difficulties. Time to go. And yeah, I did it. It gets really fucking hard, but it is so satisfying. And one thing, because you guys are talking about like you wish you had something in the beginning. So what I did for all of my runs was if you skip a blind, you get usually some sort of benefit. I don't know if you guys saw that. Like you don't have to play.
Yeah,
every
I
blind.
use it sometimes, but sometimes it's garbage. It's like double your money. I'm like, it's the first round. I got 0.
The problem is in the early stages, it's never worth it for me because I don't think I can pull it off. And then by the time I have like more than capable of doing it, every time I look, it's like, oh, you'll get like an uncommon Joker. I'm like, thanks, game. I really need that right now.
So do you want to know why you will use it if you ever choose to go with the higher difficulties? Because one of the difficulty tiers has every first round of every ante have 0 money given.
Yeah.
So you can play it if you want.
So you don't have a choice.
You have no choice. You can get only money from like if you have a Joker, it's paying out money.
You have something to get like some other way to get money, but not through actually winning the round.
Not through winning. So you have no choice. Well, you can do it and be like, okay, maybe I'll make like a couple dollars from like having 2 hands left out of 4.
Unless you got like the rocket ship one.
Yes, and I did one round with the rocket ship. That was very financially fun. But yeah, so
it's great having like $70 at the start of a round, and then you roll an Arcana. It's like, hey, double your money. I'm like, why? Yes, I will. Thank you.
Yes,
I got a wicked run going right now where I've got the hobo card where I get a free tarot card if I'm under $4.
Yes,
and then I've got another Joker that I get a ×1 multiplier every time I use a tarot card. So like I'm just like getting 2 or 3
yes.
like, tarot cards every round.
My go-to generally.
What?
I think I had that when I was playing one of the rounds I had because I must have done 500 rounds. Like it was insane in 12 hours how many I did, and I'm pretty sure one of them I had something very similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my general go-to right now is that if I can get the rocket ship, great. If not, I will try anything I can to just make gold cards across the board and steel cards across the board. Generally, if my best route, if I can get all the cards together, is to make a pairs deck where the multiplier is based off of how many steel cards I have in my deck. Yep. And it goes up by 0.25 every single time I add one. So if I just keep running Arcana cards over and over and over, and I keep getting the ones that either make it into a steel card. If I also give me stone cards, I had one pair deck where it was I get an extra 0.25 for every steel card. I can't remember if it was multiplier or what's the currency to add on to the not the multiplier, but what's the blue side of it? What's it called again? Chips or
the chips? Yeah.
That it adds a certain amount of chips for every stone card you have in your deck. I think it might have been multiplier as well, but like I had one where I had 10 stone cards and I had like a shit ton of steels. So anytime I had a pair, there's likely a steel card in my hands to also add to the multiplier. And then on top of that, I can always put a stone card with that pair, so it immediately adds 50 on top of it before the multiplier even starts and just starts getting silly. And at one point, I had like my favorite thing to go with now is whenever you get the copy, if there's the one, I think it's the baseball Joker where it ends up any uncommon cards, it adds the multiplier to it. So if I have a copy of it, it ends up just bouncing back each of these things over and over again on the multipliers to the point that like I was doing about 560,000 with a single pair at one point.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I still haven't been able to get 1 million in one round, but I'm working on it.
I got 2.9 million. That's still my best one. I'm so happy with that one. But what I was doing is I would start a run, look at that first skip because I had no choice. I didn't even earn money if I did play it. Look at it. If I didn't like it, immediately just start the run again. And I just kept doing that because sometimes the skip is everything in the shop in your next round will be free. So you get 2 jokers and 2 booster decks for $0.
Yeah,
you don't
I've
know
never
what
come
they
across
are,
one that I'm like, oh, I have to. Like a lot of the time,
I've
it just
come
ends
across
up being
good
like,
ones.
you know, you might get a free reroll, or you might get an uncommon joker. You might get like it's something that's like, is it really worth it that much? I haven't seen one of these crazy ones yet. I'm keep waiting for one because every time I check, I'm like, maybe this is the one. No.
No, just restart. Just have a look and restart till you get one. Because like they'll have it where it's like you'll get a free foil joker, which has like plus 50 chips.
Yeah.
Or there's
I like
one
the
where
ones, the negative ones, where you get to
the
like,
negative
joker
ones
doesn't count for it. That's
I've
great,
seen
too.
people with some decks where they have like 20 jokers because they just kept finding negatives here and there. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah. And then there's another one where the joker, it's not foil, it's something else, but it's a special
Polygraph?
joker where it has polygraph, where it's the 1.5 multiplier. So sometimes the skip is you get a free uncommon joker that has that as well. So whatever the joker is, it's a 1.5 multiplier for now. But yeah, I was skipping until I got a good one, and then I would do my run. And I did that a lot until I won. And finally, the time I did one on the 6th level difficulty, which they were doing everything in their power to make it so I didn't win. It was like, I'd get to the final round and it's like, all right, yeah, spades are no good. And I'm like, I converted all my hearts to spades. I only have spades. I'm so screwed. Or it's like every time you use a hand, it will lower that level. So I'd get flushes up to level 12, but every time I played it in that boss run, it would be like, all right, now it's level 11. Now it's level 10. And like sometimes you would just get so screwed. But man, I had it where it was getting like a 3 times multiplier because it was like every time I added a card to my deck, it would add the multiplier by like 0.25 or something. And I got it up to like 3. I had a joker that copied the joker to the right. So I had that to the left, obviously, of that one. So it's getting a 3 times multiplier and a 3 times multiplier. I was doing all spades. And whenever I played a spade, it got an extra 50 chips or whatever for each spade played, as well as every time I played a spade, it increased the multiplier by 1.5 or something. Like, so it was just like bang, 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 bang. And all these points would keep going up, and still I would get to like near the end. And it was like, yeah, but even though you have this invincible deck, you're on level 6. Good luck, bud. You're not going to win. Because one time I got it was like, oh, extra high, amount of points needed. I can't remember what it's called, but normally it was like already on higher difficulty, 300,000. So when all of a sudden it was increased, it was 900,000 that I had to reach in order to win. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I just did all this work. I'm on round 23 of 24. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it is.
That's where that voucher that lets you reroll the boss blind helps.
I like the one where you can actually just like if you get to 75% of like the number it counts, like you get a save against the boss. I've used that one a bit too. So
yes, there is that one too. Yeah.
Other than Blotcher, what have you been playing, Chris?
The only other game I've been playing is Dave the Diver. I actually got really much into that game also on my Steam Deck. Very relaxing. I've played so many like JRPGs and stuff because I beat Fire Emblem and I beat Tactics Ogre, and my Xbox still isn't working with the Eiyuden Chronicles game because my save is corrupted because of the Microsoft server going down and that business. I'm at a part in Jeanne d'Arc that it's like I have to grind for like 5 hours to beat the next boss because the story has a bunch of characters leave, and they were all the characters I'd built up as high levels and only played with them. I was like, God damn it. But yeah, I was like, I need something not intense JRPG. So I started playing Dave the Diver, which I grabbed in the summer sale. It's like one of the only games on the Steam summer sale I haven't like finished yet. And I forgot how relaxing that was and how nice it is, because you're just like diving during the day and catching different fish, and then little story elements happen, but also just fishing happens. And then at night you run a sushi restaurant with all the fish you get. And it's like so delightful. It is such a good game. And the reason I grabbed it is because there's free Godzilla DLC that's coming, that is out, but it's only available until November. And then the DLC is gone forever. I don't know if it's a temporary license they got with the Godzilla company or something, but God, this game is perfection. Like, it is just the perfect blend of relaxing, but a little bit of action and stuff like that. Like obviously you'll be fishing and there might be a shark or swordfish or something like that. And then the restaurant business part of running the sushi restaurant right at the end is delightful. Trying to make as much money as possible, but also you have to manually pour green tea or beer, and customers get mad if there's more than 20% head on the beer and stuff like that. It's just like this really great gameplay loop kind of game. Like it is so delightful. And the music, like you don't need to do a thing where you could put on a podcast and play this game or something like that. Like you don't need to concentrate and all that, but the music is like, it's kind of like Minecraft. It's just ambient, like nice music. And it is so chill and delightful that you actually want to listen to it like all the time. It is so good. So good. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, I highly suggest somebody just give it a go. Just give it a go.
Cool.
Be Dave, the most generic main character ever, who's just made fun of basically throughout the entire game, which is also my favorite part because he's just so an average human being, which I love.
Cool. It looks good. I might check it out. For me, I finished up on playing Flintlock Siege of Dawn or whatever. Siege at Dawn. I don't remember what it's called. What a game. I'm going to do a full review next week, but like this game is a strong contender for game of the year. I was talking about it in the Discord. Like, I love the gameplay. I love the fluidity. And like, one of the things I didn't talk about when I was talking about it last week is like, this game has few to no bugs. Like, there's not a lot of issues in terms of like having to restart. There was only like one time where I had to restart because like a little pod thing to go to the next flying thing just didn't open up, so I couldn't do it. I had to restart, but then it ran right back. But yeah, few to no bugs, and that's something to say on a double. I'm gonna call it a double A game. Like, it's not full it could be triple A, but I'll call it double A. Like, to see that kind of thing just run out and like work right away is absolutely fantastic. Like, I could not recommend this game enough to anyone who is into like action adventure games or who's into Souls-like game or Soulsborne games. Like, this is absolutely perfect. So yeah, something like this. You see those little triangles? You have to wait for the trigger, and I guess the game thought that I was in combat somewhere. And because of that, I had to like, I couldn't go to the next one. Once I restarted, it just worked perfectly fine. But like, it's an incredible game. And it's certainly a game of the year contender for me, if not going to be game of the year. So I'll do my full review and talk all my thoughts next week. But yeah, if you are on the fence about this one, if you're kind of turned off by the reviews, like, don't be. This game is really good. Like, right up there with, it's like a God of War, better than like Hellblade, but that same style of like walking around, exploring, and like hacking and slashing, doing gun shooting. Like, it has all those vibes. It's very much like Plague Tale, very much like God of War, that kind of game. So highly recommend. And then other than that, yeah, I've been playing Balatro, and I picked up Prince of Persia, the Forgotten Crown or whatever. So I'm going to start that up this week and see how that goes.
Oh, the newer side scroller one?
Yeah, the side scrolling.
Yeah, I think is it the Lost Crown or is it? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's Lost Crown.
Forgotten. Yeah, so
I think it's Lost Crown. Anyways, we'll see. This week, guys, I was going to talk to you. I was like looking at stuff to talk about, and honestly, it all kind of sucks. Bungie's got layoffs. You know, the voice actors are on strike. Game Informer is being shut down. Like, there's a lot of crap, and I don't feel like talking negative today. So I just wanted to come up with something fun and easy. So I want to talk to you guys about character creations. So we have them in a lot of games with, like, we saw stuff with like Dragon Age or Dragon Age Veilguard or whatever it's called, the Veilguard. And like they have character creation. I want to know, like, do you guys prefer games that have character creation, or do you guys prefer having like a pre-rendered character ready to go? I was coming off of playing Flintlock. I thought the character was really cool there. They didn't allow for customization. And then I thought about something like Rise of the Ronin, where I built my own character. So, like, do you guys prefer having a pre-made character, or do you guys prefer making your own?
I think it really depends on the type of game. Like, if there's a real heavy story influence on it, I think that's where I would rather them stick to a pre-design, because at least it gives a proper image to the motivations, to the backstory. Because let's be real, if it's a game where it's supposed to be sort of a serious story where, you know, this person has some emotional baggage and shit, it's gonna look really weird when you make them like a fucking blue Avatar character, you know? So like, I think there's it's why like games and Saints Row where it works. Like I think when there's meant to be more of a lightheartedness to it, I think it works. And then for games that really just aren't nearly as story deep, obviously it makes a lot of sense too. So like just from a bare bones perspective of when is the best place to use it, if the story don't mean as nearly as much, that's an ideal place to let your clientele like mess around with your creator tools and just kind of make some funky stuff. Because whether people make really weird ones or really serious looking ones, like at least it works all in the environment they're in. Because at the end of the day, like if it's not going to look that weird because there's not really any cutscenes where they're going to look massively out of place, and it's more just about, you know, how stupid are they going to look with, you know, any sort of weapon just bashing the shit out of something. I think it's a different story.
Yeah, I'm very much on the same page here as Adam. For me, if it's something that's going to be very serious or very story driven, I do prefer like God of War. Yeah, Kratos, the fact that him, you know, he is who he is, like makes that story where they can write it and focus on his character and his development. Whereas if I had made a character, I'm not going to care about the development of that character, right? Like I don't care about the growth and stuff because they didn't exist. This isn't a character over many stories and stuff like that. So like a Sony first party game, probably I would rather them just give me a Nathan Drake and give me his story. Like that's something that I would enjoy. It's like going to the movies. But if you give me something like GTA Online, heck yeah, I want to make my own character and go and just do random bank robberies and stuff like that because it's me living out a fantasy of doing something versus watching the growth of some character over time. Because it's also funny the way they have to write characters when you create them, because you'll go to a mission and they can't say like, oh, Kratos and stuff like that, right? You created the character and they haven't done voice acting for every single name and all that kind of stuff. So it's always like, oh, hey, you, time to rob a bank. And like they got to talk to you in a way where they don't say your name and stuff. So it's got to be something that's not overly serious so you don't have to like kind of deal with that.
Break the illusion, yeah.
Yeah, it breaks the illusion, exactly. There are other games that are very story focused, though I do think do it really well. You know, Baldur's Gate, Fallout, like those kind of games, but it's not just about designing the way your character looks. I think with those, the reason it works so well is you get to build the stats and everything with it. So I think if you're going to be making a game where you build out all of the stats of a character, their persuasion versus their strength versus their charisma versus like you're going to go that deep, then yeah, it's great to make your own character because then you're really immersed in just playing a Dungeons and Dragons fantasy, basically, or something along those lines, right? Sure,
Yeah,
there's like The Witcher.
It's really
and stuff.
dependent on like if it's more of an open story where it's what you like the direction you want to take it. If it's something more linear, then yeah, it really doesn't make any sense to give you any customization because really, like if you're trying to sell a single stream to people, like going with, oh, by the way, and you can just do whatever you want with that person, it kind of takes away some of the importance of it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I like Fallout mostly because of the character creation, which is something I like. Now, if I had to be completely honest of which one I prefer, I do go the lazier route where I want to be told a story. Like I do prefer the going to the movies and watching an Indiana Jones film. You know, that's why I love Uncharted. Like I'm going in and I'm seeing a movie and I just get to actually do it. Versus like going through all the steps of building out stats and a character and the way they look, because then I'm like either trying to make the hottest girl that's ever existed in the world or I'm trying to make me, and like making me's a lot harder because it's like I can't find me in here. Those aren't my eyes, but it's the closest eyes I can do, you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. So yeah, like if I had to pick one, yeah, give me Spider-Man, give me Uncharted, give me God of War, give me that character and let me get engrossed in someone else's story versus, you know, me having to figure it out. But then, you know, a Fallout comes along, Skyrim, GTA Online, stuff like that. Yeah, it is fun to create a character and just really engross yourself in that world, trying to be kind of like you get to decide how it plays out kind of idea.
See, for me, like I lean more towards the pre-built characters, and the reason why I find that is that I find that the pre-built characters usually look better, like they're better animated and they perform better in terms of like cut scenes. Compared to like when you do the pre-made, like the make your own creation characters, like they always look janky and they look like weird in the cutscenes, and I always hated that. And they also, like you said, there's an element removed of like feeling like you're part of that story. Like I think of things like Fallout, I think of Baldur's Gate, Skyrim, where it's just like you're kind of just a hunk that's just standing there, like you're not contributing to the story. Like the story's happening around you, and you just kind of stand there with a stupid look on your face. And so I was like, if ever given the choice, like I typically want to look like a character that's pre-made. Even like I think of something like Cyberpunk, right? Like the Cyberpunk main characters that they use for advertising look so cool, and then you get in and you have to make your own character, and I'm like, I just want to look like the character on the box. Like I just want to look like that. And
yeah, there's that part of me that's like, I mean, I love Mass Effect to death, but would it be better off if it wasn't my Shepard, if it was just the Shepard? Which is kind of like a difficult question in thinking about it, because I mean, sure, like, you know, I love the Shepard that I created, specifically the Femme Shepard that I created in that series. But like, for example, with say Mass Effect Andromeda, I didn't really have any attachment to that character because nothing I think I could have done really would have worked with it. So it's kind of like the give or take, right? Like it seems like in some cases it can work, but like it really has to, like, that's the point where I think if you're going to have a created character, your story better be able to shine through the fact that it may not fit necessarily with what you've created.
Yeah, or it just requires no story at all, like GTA Online. Like it's just, oh, you're a bad person, you're gonna rob a bank because it's easier to make money that way. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the
generally,
story.
like anything that's going to be massive online. Like, I'm surprised that we didn't get to do a little bit more with Helldivers. But like, for example, you think with games like Final Fantasy 14 and Destiny and other ones like that, where it really doesn't make a difference what you look like. That's where you really can let your creativity kind of shine. And it's a shame because some of those games really don't go as far as you'd like them to either, considering like the biggest part of those games is mostly like, hey, here's how badass your character looks. Instead, here's like 10 different hairstyles. Good luck.
Yeah. Why the hell does Helldivers not let me customize my armor and how I look? I want that.
Yeah, you got to like earn different armor, and even then, it's like predetermined.
But you don't get to
Warbunks.
like you just look like another option where it's like,
yeah,
hey, I'd like to make a
it'd
color
be nice
scheme.
if they had some more shader options. I understand why if you're going canonically through a storytelling as to why, because let's be real, you can't recolor your armor because then that would be undemocratic. But
No, but like you could have it that each ship has its own like squadron in the sense of like think of like Star Wars where the clones like they each had like squadron colors. Do that with Helldivers where like your ship, like for mine it was like the SES, I forget what it is, but like mine was like the Hammer
Princess
of Serenity.
of Starlight,
and, like,
let's go with mine.
Yeah, like Princess of Starlight, and like the colors for Princess of Starlight could be like pink and purple.
Yeah,
and, like that's
I think if there's something you do,
squadron.
like, hey, if you're the host, your ship's colors are what get used as like the overlay on the armor, for example. So you could pick like, say you had 3 options. So you have like normally your black, your yellow, or greenish or whatever, like that main like yellow greenish color they have, and then like for outlines and stuff, like you could have like a white, so you have like anything for just the outlined lines and shit like that. So you could say like, hey, no matter what armor you choose, when you drop in on this ship, this is what alters it.
Yeah, like
or
I
at the
think
very
back,
least, like when you go to customize the armor, at least it gives you those are the 3 colors you have to choose from. You can mess with them however you like.
Yeah, one of the best games that had like a character armor design was the Warhammer 40k Dawn of War, and you could literally build whatever color like Space Marines you wanted to. Like each part was able to be colored whatever color, so you could like make any sort of chapter or any sort of design that you guys wanted to.
Yeah, Destiny's really been very good with being able to give you like the chance to like all the armors look cool on their own, but you can make it your kind of cool, because if you have like, I think by the time that I left, there was like 200 different shaders, combinations of colors you could use. It didn't let you fully customize, like you couldn't just pick the colors yourselves, but it gave you like, oh, this one will be like, it'll change certain pieces here and there, like white, purple, and gold, depending on what spot of the armor it wants to use. And you just keep flipping through them to see like which combination seems to accentuate the parts you like the best. So it definitely gave you the opportunity, especially in the later stages of the game when you've played enough, to go, okay, this is 100% my character, and very, very few people are going to look like this.
Yeah,
because that's a big part of those things too, is the individuality. Whereas in a game like, say, like we said earlier, a God of War, it would make no sense because the individuality is already designed there for you. There's no point in you touching it.
Yeah. And Kaylan, when you were talking before about characters looking janky, all I could think of is like Bethesda games where it's like Starfield and all the glitches they have, because they have to make the engine like that so that any character that's created kind of fits in the engine versus Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man, where it's like they're making each character model and it's just that one model. So you don't run into the Starfield hilarious bugs that they were getting with the characters with like their eyes like looking up crazily or staring at you no matter where their head was going and stuff like that. Like it usually the games that have the predetermined characters and character models look way better than the games that don't. I'll give props to Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't played it, but obviously that game does look pretty good. I would say it's one of the better ones compared to, again, I'm comparing it to like Starfield or like Fallout 4, which is the newest Fallout, obviously, in Skyrim, like those kind of games. Because I haven't played, I guess, too many games that require, I guess, like Outriders. I did a custom character, didn't love that. Been playing a bit of Ghost Recon Wildlands, made a character. I don't know. There wasn't many options in there.
Deal, mind you.
No, that
Ghost
was
Recon
not a big deal. Yeah, but there's also like not that many options. Like I was trying to make my guy and it was more just like, what ethnicity do I want? And then I'm kind of like, all right, well, each one's got like 3 different, how deep set their eyes are. And then
that drives me nuts is when they have races, but they give them pre-done faces. So you can't like take another face, but change the color to that face. That shit drives me crazy. Like stuff like that is the things of like, guys, you literally just had to do face 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you go, okay, here's the color tone wheel. So that way you can't just go, by the way, if you want to be a black character, you have 2 faces. Have fun with that.
Yeah, like
it's
stupid.
Not,
a lot of games I've seen does. I'm pretty sure the Square Enix one, Outriders, was that what it's called?
Outriders, yeah.
Outriders, yeah. Like I feel like that one had like 4 options or something. Like I do remember that one being like, I can't make me and I can't make somebody I want, so I'm just gonna pick somebody and not care. Like
it almost feels like if you are going to do a character creator, you need to bare minimum have slider options so that people can make their own face.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll give props to the community as well too, because I've seen some creations that have been made in like say Fallout 4 without mods, and I'm like, how the hell did you do that? Like I tried for so long, and then I was like, whatever generic guy I basically started with, the game was like, hey, what do you think of this guy? I ended up just kind of going with him anyways when I did it because I couldn't make anything that much better. But I guess also some of the creations that we used to see back on the Wii where people were making Miis that were even crazy. And I was like, how the hell did you do that?
You get people time, man.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, I was going to ask you guys, like, what the best game or what's one game that you think that did a really good character creation. And, like, honestly, for me, I think the Nintendo Wii with the Mii's, like, nailed it out of the park. Like, I spent so much time, like, my sister had a Wii, and, like, every one of us had our own little, like, Wii character in there and stuff. And, like, not all of them looked, but, like, you could get it pretty close from most people. Like, I had one, and it looked, like, pretty close to me. And, like, and I started doing, like, famous people and cartoon characters and stuff. And, like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun to do.
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of those posts online too, where people are like, "Oh, I made Geralt in The Witcher," or whatever it would. Obviously, it wouldn't have been that at the time.
I'm
but
trying to remember what the subreddit is. There's a whole subreddit literally about like people just saying, "Hey, I made this character from another game in this game."
It's always Shrek. Someone always makes Shrek.
Someone always makes Shrek. Yeah, even fighting games have got some character creators
Street
now.
Is it Tekken that does it? Oh, it's Street Fighter.
Yeah, the new Street Fighter has that with its like custom story mode that it does now.
Yeah, and some of those look really, really cool and really good. Though I imagine theirs is a little bit easier. Their whole engine is like one screen that 2 characters stand in and fight, right?
The biggest one for a long time was The Last Soul Calibur. People went nuts in that character creator.
Oh, I do remember that, yeah. And that kind of makes sense. Like, because you've got your predetermined characters you can play, but you can also make your own. It's kind of like in Mario Kart. You can still make your own Mii character in Mario Kart 8, even though the Switch doesn't require it. But you can also just play as Mario and stuff too if you want to just do that. So the options are there, and it's kind of like fun when it's like that. But yeah, I definitely, Kaylan, I'm with you where it's like if I had to pick, I want the predetermined, just pre-made character models that they can put all of that effort into making them look as accurate and good as possible. Like Adam, I'm sure you could think like Yakuza. Would you like a character creator, make your own Yakuza? It sounds kind of cool. But do you want to also just forget about Kiryu and not have that? Probably not. I'd think I'd rather go with his story kind of idea, you know?
Yeah, like it would be a case of like if there was a side mode that they did where you could like create your henchman sort of like deal in the gang, like that'd be a different story. But yeah, like Yakuza's always better off when they have like their own individual characters that they design here. So like I would never want them to see. I would not want a new Yakuza game to be like, hey, create your new Kiryu guy. It's like, no, just give me one.
No.
You guys did great for like the other 90 things that you've done for it.
One thing I'm surprised I'm sure a game has maybe done this, but imagine where you do create a character, but that character's just like there, like they're not the main character. Like take Yakuza, you've got your main character, but at the beginning you get to create a character, and he's actually just a member of the Yakuza that's going to be in some of the scenes and be there.
Steve.
Yeah, like you can make Steve the Yakuza guy, and you'll be having your main thing. You're still playing as Kiryu. You're going through all the stuff, but in some of the cutscenes, there's Steve, like just standing with the group of people. I think that would be kind of a cool idea with some games where that could work. You still get to create a character, but you know, they're just kind of like a side thing that appears sometimes. You just get to laugh when you see them.
It seems like something South Park would have done if their games weren't doing the character creator thing, where they're just like, hey, create a character, and then they just like, now that you spend 2 hours in this, and here he is, and they kill him off immediately, and they just put their character in there.
Yeah. Also, we had mentioned one game that did it perfectly. It might actually be also South Park that had it done. Because remember when I was like, oh, they got to figure out what to say your name? They were so genius in that game. They were just like, no, your name's Shithead or whatever it was. Yeah. And like, that's your name. So they actually did fully voice your name. Because they actually don't let you choose, even though you thought you would. Which I love, which is so
because
funny.
like when games do that and then they don't like... Remember, Chris, Final Fantasy X, the first time they had voice acting, still let you pick the name for Tidus, which meant that his name was never spoken through the entirety of that game, which is just
so annoying.
Stupid.
It was so annoying. It was dumb because everybody else had their name and voice acted, or like said in the lines through voice acting. Why only give the main character where you can change their name?
It's also a strange thing to do when it's like there's no character creator for that. You just pick the name. It's like, but there's voice acting. Why would you do that?
I did the same. I always felt it weird too. The same like Legend of Zelda does that, where it's like, what name do you want to be? And they're like, okay, cool. But
we all know it's Link, especially now that it's canonical. It's like, why would you change it?
You're just naming your save file in that one. Like, that's all it is.
It seems. Like, I wouldn't want to boot up a new Mortal Kombat game and they'd be like, hey, here's a story mode. Here's the rename Sub-Zero. And be like, why?
Yeah. Can you guys think of a game where, like, which is the worst for character creation? Like, where it's like, why is this
EA
here?
Sports game because they've had the same four faces for like 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's actually that's a pretty good one.
I don't love the Bethesda style of making your characters. They always look terrible.
For me, it's Sonic Forces. Like, you have Sonic, you have another character, and then they have 1/3 of the game played by a character you created that just sucks.
But Chris, is it really the character creator that sucks, or is it just the whole game?
It's the whole game, except maybe 1/3 of it where you're playing as Sonic and running. And it's like, this game's great. And it's like, okay, now you're the grapple kid you made. And it's like, I'm playing Sonic. Why am I a fox with glasses that's grappling? Why did I make this? This is dumb.
It was for the furry community, Chris. Just accept it.
I feel like that's literally why it was made. Like, good for them, but not great gameplay. It should have just been somebody who was Sonic with like, oh, he's got glasses now. That's Sonic. And you could just run. Like, I don't know. God, that was the worst. Maybe I'm just mad at that game. I think I'm just mad at that game.
You've been mad at Sonic games for a long time, Chris.
We've all been mad at Sonic for a long time.
We have, yeah. Damn it.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. If you like that and you want to hear more, we post every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you get your podcasts, or on youtube.com if you want to see our beautiful faces while we do what we do. If you want to be part of the group, want to be part of the chat, want to be on our Discord, you can find us at linktr.ee/PixelPlay Podcast. If you're listening to us and you haven't done so yet, please go on and leave us a review. We really appreciate it. Unless you can leave a 1-star, in which case you can just fuck right off and don't leave a review. Other than that, if you want to put a comment down, let us know what your favorite character creation is. We'd appreciate it. We'll respond to you guys if we can. And with that, we'll see you guys hopefully on Friday for a little side quest where we're going to be talking about Bungie and what they can do to recover from the little problem that they're in. With that, we'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.